KC24 brings you a lifestyle show from people you know with Emily Irwin. Now, Central Valley Today.
Virtually everyone knows the signs of food that just doesn't agree with us. But how do we know if it's really a food allergy? Here to explain is Dr. Angela Sabri from Premium Allergy and Respiratory Center. So this is a big one. This is a big topic. I was waiting to get there. Yes. What are the symptoms that bring people to your office that lead you down the path of food allergies?
Well, the most obvious one is someone who has a really severe reaction to a food. So these are the ones you read about in the news or see in the movies a lot, where there is a really intense reaction to a food immediately after eating it. For example, the big ones that we know about are peanut is a good example that you'll see. And so you'll get the story that every time a patient eats a peanut, that they within half an hour will have scratchy throat, itching, hives, difficulty breathing. It could be a life-threatening emergency. So I see patients that come in with those histories, and obviously we test and give advice and treatment options for them. But I also see patients who are having trouble figuring out if they may or may not have a food allergy, because the symptoms may not be so obvious or severe at first. So they may be able to narrow down the foods and not feel well after eating them, but they need help kind of testing and figuring out which exact foods might be the culprit. And so we see a range.
Do people come in with, sometimes I just get this general malaise, I just don't feel well, but it's hard to tell, oh, it's because I'm not eating well, or it's this very specific thing. How do we test for that?
So people don't like to hear this answer, but we don't test for that for food, because it's unlikely that a food allergy will just make you feel tired in its sense. But the reason an allergist is a good place to start is because we can sit there and really take the time to listen to your history, your symptoms, and figure out maybe what other testing might be appropriate. Or if you're really considering that it's a specific food or food group, we can test those specifically.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful to have somebody who is a doctor to sort of guide your journey on deciding and narrowing down what the foods are, because it can be very overwhelming to start eliminating things from your diet and picking and choosing, and it's just very overwhelming for somebody who's not trained and who doesn't see this all the time. What are the treatments for food allergies? So let's say we identify something that doesn't have a severe reaction, but it is an allergy. How do we treat that?
So this is an exciting time for food allergy, because the answer always used to be avoid it and carry an EpiPen. The exciting thing is, just in the last few years, there have been a lot of developments for desensitizing someone to a food they might be allergic to. So we can actually treat the person with microscopic amounts of the food they're allergic to and kind of slowly build it up and have their body start to tolerate it. That's been an amazing difference in the food allergy treatment world.
I know that you're gonna hate when I say this, but I've seen on social media people trying to expose their kids to things like peanuts and nuts and try to stave off allergies. Is that a thing? That
is actually, if it's done according to the guidelines, is actually recommended. We have learned so much, again, last few years, that early introduction of allergenic foods is a better option than holding off, because holding off may actually increase the chances of having food allergy. But when I say guidelines, I mean that there's some factors that need to be taken into account, such as if the family history, if there's a first-degree family member with a food allergy, or the child himself has eczema. Those are things we take into account about maybe being a little bit more cautious, and maybe an allergist would be a good idea to stop by before those allergenic foods are introduced. But generally, earlier is better.
What can I do if my child does have a life-threatening food allergy?
definitely have to have an allergist
Yeah.
on your side. We help with diagnosis, with testing, kind of confirmation, offer you the treatment options if there are any for desensitization, or one of the new biologic injectables has actually been FDA approved for food allergy now. But we also support you in the sense of school forms, making sure that EpiPen is, you know, everybody who's taking care of that child knows how to use it. We can help you figure that out. You know, there's meal accommodation forms that we fill out for schools and daycares, sports, camps, all that kind of thing. So it's good to have allergist support if you have a child that has a diagnosis of food allergy.
Well, I think it's so important. We talk about building a relationship with your primary care physician, especially if you've got life-threatening food allergies. You should be building a relationship with your allergist, and you can do that at Premium Allergy and Respiratory Center with Dr. Sabri. We will put all the information on how to get in contact with them. We'll put it on our website. It's right down there at the bottom of your screen as well. Dr. Sabri, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Protect your biggest purchase with the right roof. Lightning Roofing shows us how they do the work so fast and right after this.